Year of the Depend Adult Undergarment. Though only one-half ethnic Arab and a Canadian by birth and residence, the medical attaché is nevertheless once again under Saudi diplomatic immunity, this time as special ear-nose-throat consultant to the personal physician of Prince Q, the Saudi Minister of Home Entertainment, here on northeastern USA soil with his legation to cut another mammoth deal with Interlace Tel Entertainment. The medical attaché turns 37 tomorrow, Thursday, the 2nd of April, in the North American lunar YDAU, Year of the Depend Adult Undergarment. The legation finds the promotional subsidy of the North American calendar hilariously vulgar. To say nothing of the arresting image of the idolatrous West's most famous and self-congratulating idol, the colossal libertine statue, wearing some type of enormous adult-designed diaper, an hilariously apposite image popular in the news photos of so many international journals. The attaché's medical practice being normally divided between Montreal and the Rub al Khali, it is his first trip back to USA soil since completing his residency 8 years ago. His duties here involve migrating with the prince and his retinue between Interlace's two hubs of manufacture and dissemination in Phoenix, Arizona, USA, and Boston, Massachusetts, USA, respectively, offering expert ENT assistance to the personal physician of Prince Q. The medical attaché's particular expertise is the maxillofacial consequences of imbalances in intestinal flora. Prince Q, as would anyone who refuses to eat pretty much anything but Toblerone, suffers chronically from Candida albicans, with attendant susceptibilities to manilial sinusitis and thrush, the yeasty sores and sinal impactions of which require almost daily drainage in the cold and damp of early spring Boston, USA. A veritable artist, possessed of a deftness nonpareil, with cotton swab and evacuation hypo, the medical attaché is known among the shrinking upper classes of petro-Arab nations as the Debeki of maxillofacial yeast. His staggering fee scale is wholly ad valorem. Saudi consulting fees in particular are somewhere just past obscene, but the medical attaché's duties on this trip are personally draining and sort of nauseous, and when he arrives back at the sumptuous apartments he had his wife sublet in districts far from the legation's normal Back Bay and Scottsdale digs, at the day's end, he needs unwinding in the very worst way. A more than averagely devout follower of the North American Sufism promulgated in his childhood by Pir Valayat, the medical attaché partakes of neither kif nor distilled spirits, and must unwind without chemical aid. When he arrives home after evening prayers, he wants to look upon a spicy and 100% Sharia halal dinner, piping hot and arranged and steaming pleasantly on its attractive tray. He wants his bib ironed and laid out by the tray at the ready. And he wants the living room's teleputer booted and warmed up, and the evening's entertainment cartridges already selected and arranged and lined up in dock, ready for remote insertion into the viewer's drive. He reclines before the viewer in his special electronic recliner, and his black-veiled, ethnically Arab wife wordlessly attends him, loosening any constrictive clothing, adjusting the room's lighting, fitting the complexly molded dinner tray over his head so that his shoulders support the tray and allow it to project into space just below his chin, that he may enjoy his hot dinner without having to remove his eyes from whatever entertainment is up and playing. He has a narrow imperial-style beard, which his wife also attends, and keeps free of detritus from the tray just below. The medical attaché sits and watches and eats and watches, unwinding by visible degrees, until the angles of his body in the chair and his head on his neck indicate that he has passed into sleep, at which point his special electronic recliner can be made automatically to recline to full horizontal, and luxuriant silk analog bedding emerges flowing from long slots in the appliance's sides. and, unless his wife is inconsiderate and clumsy with the recliner's remote handheld controls, the medical attaché is permitted to ease effortlessly from unwound spectation into a fully relaxed night's sleep. Still right there in the recumbent recliner, the teepee set to run a recursive loop of low-volume surf and light rain on broad green leaves. Except, that is, for Wednesday nights, which in Boston are permitted to be his wife's Arab Women's Advanced League tennis night with the other legation wives and companions at the plush Mount Auburn Club in West Watertown, on which nights she is not around wordlessly to attend him, since Wednesday is the USA weekday on which fresh Toblerone hits Boston, Massachusetts, USA's Newbury Street's import confectioner's shelves, and the Saudi Minister of Home Entertainment's inability to control his appetites for Wednesday, Toblerone, often requires the medical attaché to remain in personal attendance all evening, on the bulk-rented 14th floor of the Back Bay Hilton, juggling tongue depressors and cotton swabs, Nistadin and ibuprofen and styptics and antibiotic thrush salves, rehabilitating the mucous membranes of the dyspeptic and distressed, and often but not always penitent and appreciative Saudi Prince Q. So, on the 1st of April, YDAU, when the medical attaché is, it is alleged, insufficiently deft with a Q-tip on an ulcerated sinal necrosis, and is subjected at just 1800 hours to a fit of febrile thrush of pique from the florally imbalanced Minister of Home Entertainment, and is by high-volume fiat replaced at the royal bedside by the prince's personal physician, who's summoned by beeper from the Hilton sauna, and when the damp personal physician pats the medical attaché on the shoulder and tells him to pay the pique no mind, that it's just the yeast talking, but to just head on home and unwind and for once make a well-deserved early Wednesday evening of it. But so when the attaché does get home, at like 1840 hours, his spacious Boston apartments are empty, the living room lights undimmed, dinner unheated and the attachable tray still in the dishwasher, and worst, of course no entertainment cartridges have been obtained from the Boylston Street Interlace outlet, where the medical attaché's wife, like all the veiled wives and companions of the prince's legatees, has a complimentary goodwill account. And even if he weren't far too exhausted and tightly wound to venture back into the damp urban night to pick up entertainment cartridges, the medical attaché realizes that his wife has, as always on Wednesdays, taken the car with the diplomatic immunity license plates, without which your thinking alien wouldn't even dream of trying to park publicly at night in Boston, Massachusetts, USA. The medical attaché's unwinding options are thus severely constricted. The living room's lavish teepee receives also the spontaneous disseminations of the Interlace subscription pulse matrix. But the procedures for ordering specific spontaneous pulses from the service are so technologically and cryptographically complex that the attaché has always left the whole business to his wife. On this Wednesday night, trying buttons and abbreviations almost at random, the attaché is able to summon up only live USA professional sports, which he has always found brutish and repellent, Texaco Oil Company sponsored opera, which the attaché has seen today more than enough of the human uvula, thank you very much, a redisseminated episode of the popular afternoon interlaced children's program Mr. Bouncity Bounce, which the attaché thinks for a moment might be a documentary on bipolar mood disorders, until he catches on and thumbs the selection panel hastily, and a redisseminated session of the scantily clad variable impact early AM Fit Forever home aerobics series of the Interlace aerobics guru Ms. Tawny Kondo, the scantily clad and splay-limbed immodesty of which threatens the devout medical attaché with the possibility of impure thoughts. The only entertainment cartridges anywhere in the apartment, a foul-tempered search reveals, are those which have arrived in Wednesday's USA postal delivery, left on the sideboard in the living room, along with personal and professional faxes, and mail the medical attaché declines to read, until it's been pre-scanned by his wife for relevant interest to himself. The sideboard is against the wall opposite the room's electronic recliner under a triptych of high-quality Byzantine erotica. The padded cartridge mailers, with their distinctive rectangular bulge, are mixed haphazardly in with the less entertaining mail. Searching for something to unwind with, the medical attaché tears the different padded mailers open along their designated perforations. There is an ONANMA specialty service film on actinomycete-class antibiotics and irritable bowel syndrome. There is the April 1st YDAU's CBC Pate North American News Summary 40-minute cartridge, available daily by a wife's auto-subscription, and either transmitted to TP by unrecordable interlace pulse or express posted on a single-play ROM self-erasing disc. There is the Arabic language video edition of April's Self magazine for the attaché's wife. Nas's covers, modeled chastely swathed and veiled. There is a plain brown and irritatingly untitled cartridge case in a featureless white 3-day standard USA first-class padded cartridge mailer. The padded mailer is postmarked Suburban Phoenix area in Arizona, USA, and the return address box says only the term, Happy Anniversary, with a small, drawn, crude face smiling in ballpoint ink instead of a return address or incorporated logo. Though by birth and residence a native of Quebec, where the language of discourse is not English, the medical attaché knows quite well that the English word anniversary does not mean the same as birthday. And the medical attaché and his veiled wife were united in the eyes of God and prophet not in April but in October, 4 years prior, in the Rubal Khali. Adding to the padded mailer's confusion is the fact that anything from Prince Q's legation in Phoenix, Arizona, USA, would carry a diplomatic seal instead of routine ONAN postage. The medical attaché, in sum, feels tightly wound and badly underappreciated and is prepared in advance to be irritated by the item inside, which is merely a standard black entertainment cartridge, but is wholly unlabeled and not in any sort of colorful or informative or inviting cartridge case, and has only another of these vapid USA-type circular smiling heads embossed upon it where the registration and duration codes are supposed to be embossed. The medical attaché is puzzled by the cryptic mailer and face and case and unlabeled entertainment, and preliminarily irritated by the amount of time he's had to spend upright at the sideboard attending to mail, which is not his task. The sole reason he does not throw the unlabeled cartridge in the waste can or put it aside for his wife to preview for relevance is because there are such woefully slim entertainment pickings on his wife's irritating, Americanized tennis league evening away from her place at home. The attaché will pop the cartridge in and scan just enough of its contents to determine whether it is irritating or of an irrelevant nature and not entertaining or engaging in any way. He will heat the prepared halal lamb and spicy halal garnish in the microwave oven until piping hot, arrange it attractively on his tray, preview the first few moments of the puzzling and or irritating or possibly mysteriously blank entertainment cartridge first, then unwind with the news summary. Then perhaps have a quick, unlibidinous look at Nas's spring line of sexless black devout women's wear. Then we'll insert the recursive Surf and Rain cartridge and make a well-deserved early Wednesday evening of it, hoping only that his wife will not return from her tennis league in her perspiration-dampened black ankle-length tennis ensemble and remove his dinner tray from his sleeping neck in a clumsy or undeft fashion that will awaken him, potentially. When he settles in with the tray and cartridge, the TP's viewer's digital display reads 19:27 hours.